Hello everybody, my name is Lego Lee and welcome back to another LEGO 2020 set review. This is my first 2020 Ninjago set review. This here is Kai's Mech Jet. This set has 217 pieces and retails for $20. Here is a front look at your box that tells you that this set here is a 2-in-1 set, which means the back of the box is kind of just like another front of the box, which is kind of funny. And also, you get 2 instruction manuals for each individual build. The first one has 60 pages of building, and the second one has 53. Here is the set itself. One thing that remains consistent between the 2 builds of this set is, of course, the minifigures. So let's look at those first. The first minifigure included with this set here is Kai, and LEGO is not doing me any favors as a reviewer because this is such a detailed minifigure. It's going to take quite a bit of time of my review to look just at this figure. I mean, oh my gosh, the printing is great all around. Love the printing, love the design. The ninja mask is a brand new piece that looks really cool, and his face print underneath there is cool. He also has a double-sided face, and above his head you can see a brand new part that is kind of like this health monitor, which is interesting and cool, and I love that new piece, which is attached to another new piece that holds both of his katanas, which is really cool, and underneath that he has good back printing. And finally, his weapon has an awesome new piece. It's a hilt that looks like a gaming controller. Okay, that's a lot of new parts that all come together to make a wonderful looking Kai minifigure. Beep beep, because this next character here is Ritchie. And this is the main villain character of the set and the only other minifigure included with this set here. He has a lot of the same new pieces that Kai had. However, it's kind of the bad guy version. So his health thing above his head is, in dark orange, so it's like the bad guy version, and his controller, instead of being white and black, is black and red, and it looks really cool. His printing all around is great, and his head sculpt is brand new with that creepy ponytail coming out the back, and I love it. It's this weird, like, wolf-like look, and I'm kind of curious to see what he looks like underneath that visor. However, you cannot take the visor off. It is molded in there permanently, but this is a really cool looking figure, and the pink color is very striking for this character. From the back, he does have some great back printing as well, so overall, a really great Ritchie figure. There are a couple very small side builds in this set. Ritchie here gets this lime green surfboard with a boomerang piece on the bottom that also has a little jet thruster. That's very interesting. And you also, of course, get the generic MacGuffin of this latest Ninjago wave, and these are very cleverly called katanas, and this is a fabulous mold. Look at this new katana piece. That is so cool looking. I love this part. We're going to look at the jet portion of Mech Jet here first. This is kind of for all intents and purposes, the alternative build of this set. You can see here, this baggie here is full of leftover pieces. This does not use all the parts in this set. And I gotta say, this build is a little bit on the underwhelming side. It's an extremely flat jet, and it looks a little bit awkward, but I absolutely adore the color scheme here. The whites, the reds, and of course the neon transparent green pieces blend together beautifully. The nose here I think looks pretty cool, and I really like these decals. They have some very cool aesthetic appearances. You also have stud shooters on the side here, which of course you can fire off. As we move down the side here, I think this engine area is my favorite design in this set. Uses some interesting building snot techniques around there, and it looks pretty good. The cockpit isn't really much of a cockpit, but you do have a control panel made of that new game controller hilt piece. That is fantastic. I love the use of that part there, and Kai does fit in there very easily. As we move towards the back, some more decals, although these stickers are a bit annoying to put on the sides right here. And then of course the wings are built from this brand new Bionicle kind of style transparent piece here that has awesome Just awesome sculpting. That looks so cool. And you get 3 of them, and that color absolutely makes this thing pop. That is the coolest design of this thing. It's very easy to swoosh around, and it's pretty big, but there aren't really any compelling features. Let me grab a brick separator here real quick, and let's destroy this thing to build the main build of the set. Well, that didn't take too long. Let's add those leftover pieces we looked at earlier and get to building the mech portion of this build. I suspect it'll take a little bit longer to construct that than deconstructing the jet. And here it is, the completed mech version of Kai's Mech Jet. This pretty much uses all of the non-extra pieces in this set, besides this one gray plate. And I'm not complaining about getting this piece left over on the side. Now, this build, I think this build, just from a pure look standpoint, is definitely better than the jet. However, it's kind of skimpy in some ways. Like I often do with figures like this, we start from the feet first. These feet have a pretty nice design, although these salmon color pieces, I love that color, but they just stick out a bit, and that's not the only time that happens on this set. And look at these legs. What is this? Why is it so skinny? That looks really awkward to me. I'm not a huge fan of that. I do like this piece right here in dark red. It's kind of like a bridge, but oh man, I'm not a big fan of that leg. And then you move up to the hips. The hips are pretty cool. That's where these stickered parts are. This looks good. It has a pretty decent front-facing profile, but once you see how skinny the middle section of the legs are, it really kind of starts to fall apart for me. Now, the articulation for the legs, you do have actually kind of bionicle style joints, which is interesting. You can move them down at the foot here and at the waist, the hip area. You don't have any knees, which is very typical of LEGO mechs, but I guess those Marvel mechs just kind of spoiled me with the knee articulation. The arms are decent. They're not great. They're not bad. They are covered up pretty well. Again, though, the strange use of the salmon color, I'm just not a fan of randomly having accents of that color on this build. I do like the use of this piece, though, throughout this set. It adds a lot of texture, and again, the color scheme here is fantastic. This arm here does have these stud shooters on the end. You also have a katana down there, and what you're supposed to do is take Kai's weapon and put it on there for storage. However, with this weapon on here, it really interferes with the feature on the back that I'll show you in just a minute, so I'd kind of just recommend leaving that off. The other arm is pretty much the same design, although it does have these teeth pieces as fingers, and it has a giant sword with one of those new wing parts. That looks fantastic. It works perfectly, and I love it. I love that design. And additionally, you can actually hold a katana on this arm as well, so it is nice that this thing can hold both both of Kai's katanas, although I think it is still annoying that the other weapon kind of juts out too far. Like the legs, the arm articulation isn't great, but it's not too bad. It has Mixel style ball joints here and there, so only 2 points of articulation, but you can get it in some decent enough poses. The main cockpit area has a pretty nice and very unique look to it. I do like these stickers. Again, even the stickers have some of that salmon color, so I guess that was an intentional inclusion with the color scheme of this set, and I just do not understand it in the slightest. Now, to fit Kai in there, you basically just lower this, and he doesn't have any controls. He doesn't really go in. He just kind of pegs onto a couple studs right there. You can fit even with the armor right here, but not with the katanas. That's why they go on the arms, but it looks a little bit awkward to me, especially around this area. It's just a little skimpy, and that's a consistent thing throughout this mech that I'm not a huge fan of. And finally, and undoubtedly the best design of this mech jet are the wings. You can fold these wings out like this and put them into this formation. It's an impressive wingspan. This is a really nice design, and I love that new wing piece. And wow, that just makes this thing look oh so much cooler. It is a pretty cool looking mech, but I do have those flaws that I mentioned throughout this review. This is a weird one for me to wrap up, because when I initially saw the box art for the mech portion of this set, I fell in love with it. I thought this thing looked awesome. And it does. This looks really cool. A fantastic color scheme and some interesting designs make this thing look cool. But building it was a bit underwhelming, and the articulation is not that great. I mentioned how weird and skimpy some portions of this build actually look when you get up and close with them, so I'm not as in love with this set as I thought I was going to be, but I still really enjoy the look of it, and I'm happily going to put this build on display. The jet portion actually didn't have the weird skimpy problems that the mech does, but I don't think the jet portion of this set looked as cool as the mech. So personally, I would build the mech and put this one on display, and this thing is decent for playability, but I kind of have a feeling some kids might be let down with the lack of articulation in some points. All of those things combined give this set here for me a 7 out of 10. A little bit let down, but it's still a pretty good set, and the value is great. The figures are great. The pieces, oh my gosh, the new pieces are fantastic. So it's a pretty good set overall, but it's not a great set that I hoped it would be. Those are my thoughts though. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. Also guys, while you're at it, please like this video, share this video with all of your friends, comment on this video, follow this page, and I hope to see you guys next time on Ninjago set reviews. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.